In this next segment, we're going to show replacement of the dryer. Now, I've already removed the clamp and the unit's already had the refrigerant taken out of it. So what I need to do at this point is the copper, since it's a little harder to clean than aluminum, I'm going to go ahead and clean my piping before I make my cut. Now, as we should know, you can either use a cap tube cutter or a triangular file and score the copper. Now, I need as much straight with no solder buildup, so I'm going to come right behind the solder joint and using my cap tube cutters, it tells you to cut at about a 45-degree angle, I'm going to clip my cap tube and move this out of the way. Now over here on my steel line, I'm going to straighten it down. And I'm also going to clean it up really, really well. Now, on a lot of LG refrigerators, we've got a short pipe over here. So I need every bit of this to get my 30 millimeters. There may be a time I need to come in with a torque and actually remove the dryer just to get the length I need. But there is enough there. So I'm going to use my tubing cutter. And usually I would cut further back, but since I'm in need of every bit of length I can, I'm going to angle this a little. It's not going to be the easiest cut, but I'm going to cut this to where I'm keeping all the steel I can keep. Now, I'm going to go ahead and clean this just a hair more, just to make sure I've got it clean. In the earlier presentation we gave you, we've given you cut points and sizes, all right? So here, just to double check, I'm going to use my gauge. I've zeroed it, and I open it up. I come over, and I've already measured this prior to y'all getting on, but it's like 4.01, so I know that's a 4. Now, when we're using LokRing, we're using this dryer, and if you check it, this is also a 4. So what I've chosen is a 4-to-4 connector that will go from here to here. And then I've chosen a 4-2 connector. This is a cap tube connector. And it will fit our cap tube on one end, and it'll fit over this on the other. Now, you also have the ability to cut this down. A lot of guys are like, oh, that's too long to put in there. Guys, we gave you the length in case you needed it. We only need 30 millimeters. So I can actually cut this back about a 1/2 inch. And I'm going to do that just so it's an easier fit in here. So I'm going to cut this back a little. Now on this side, I don't need all that tubing either, so I'm going to get my 30 millimeters. And I'm just shortening this so I can use it more efficiently in my machine compartment. And clean my tubing up. On my cap tube, I need to straighten my cap tube up, and let's go ahead and clean it. And with our cap tube, we're going to shove it all the way through till it comes through. That way, when we insert this end in here, the cap tube is inserted in the end of the dryer. Then this piece on the dryer is going to go in just like normal. It will go in and bottom out on the stop ring. But the cap tube is all the way through, as you can see. So you're wanting to make sure your cap tube goes all the way through the union so that it fits in here. Right now, it doesn't matter which end I LokRing first. And just like always, I'm going to take my other union. I'm going to get my lock prep, and I'm going to put a couple of drops. Put my LokRing on, rotate it 360 degrees. Use my lock prep here, insert it. Think about where you need your Schrader to be. come in, I'm holding it together. Once we've got one joint hooked on, I'm going to pull this out just a little and apply my lock prep. And I only need 1-2 drops. Spin it. I'm going to put my lock prep down here on the dryer. And now I'm going to bring over my cap tube a little. And I'm going to do some bending. I've got my connectors together. I'm going to come in on my tube. I'm going to hold the union together. And now we've got our LokRing joint. I do not have a kink here. I've got a tight bend. I can now reposition my cap tube and dryer. At this point, with the dryer in place with the LokRing, I would go ahead and pressurize my system just like we did with the evaporator. Use my bubbles, ensure that neither joint leaked, pull my vacuum, and recharge my unit. And in conclusion, this takes care of how to put a dryer in using LokRing. And please look at the other videos in this series, how to replace a compressor, an evaporator, and use of the caliper in measuring the tubing for correct fit of the LokRing. Have a good day.